What's going on, guys? Back at it again with the G8. This time we are going to be installing the Fore Innovations fuel system specifically for a Pontiac G8. Now, I went on their website. I didn't know much about them before this car, but it seems like they make from entry level. This kit is an entry level kit that utilizes stock fuel rails, and we're gonna do -8 feed and return. They go as crazy as triple pumps and aftermarket fuel rails and all kinds of stuff. It gets crazy. But I see they support Nissan, GM, and Ford. And then they have some Universal stuff. But they make kits for Mustang, like 5.0 Coyote Mustangs and stuff like that. So this kit is the entry-level kit that they sell. So we'll be utilizing the OEM ZL1 fuel rails, and we will be doing full -8 feed and return. This is what we have. This is what came with the kit. It came with all of the -8 fittings, a filter, the fuel pressure regulator, a gauge, as well as the hanger, which I didn't get a picture of before. I did get a picture of, but I didn't get a video of it. But this is the Fore Innovation fuel pump module, and it has dual Walbro 450s in it. And basically, it's a drop-in solution. So you pull the factory tank out. You pull the factory module out. With these, they say you have to drop the tank, but you don't necessarily have to. We opted for cutting the hole in the floor. There's a company I think called G8 only or something like that, and they actually sell a replacement, like a bolt-in lid that goes in that hole, so that the piece that I cut out can be covered. We might go with that. I might make something for it. I haven't gotten that far yet. So right now, what I'm going to do is I have the pump in. We have to wire the connector, and then I already started doing a couple of the -8 fittings. So I'm going to get some of these done and then start running the line. And hopefully tonight the fuel system will be done, and then it will be almost ready to start. The customer he's really good at wiring, and he specifically asked to do it himself, so I'm going to let him do that. Also, for those of you that are going to end up running the Fore Innovations fuel pump module, you have 6 wires, and what you're going to have to do is take your factory fuel pump sending unit and take off the level sensor from the side, which sits right in this area, and then you're going to put it on the side of this, and these 2 wires down on the inside, when you get the fuel pump module, look just like this on the other side. And what you're going to do is cut the factory plug off, which I have right here. You're going to cut the factory plug off, and then you're going to strip them, and it has 2 butt connectors that come with the kit. And it doesn't matter which one goes where. I spoke to Fore Innovations just to be safe. I called them, and they said it doesn't matter. You can put any 2, whichever how you want it. And then the kit comes with a connector, and then there's a ground and a power for each pump. And basically what we're gonna do is wire it up so that one runs all the time, and then the other one comes on with like a boost reference. So basically, after it sees either a certain amount of throttle or a certain amount of boost, it will turn on the second pump, and we'll have tons of fuel. Alright, so I got the first line made here. I want to say this one is the feed line, so this one is going to go up to the regulator, and then from the regulator it's going to go into the rail, and then from the regulator there's also going to be the return. Because the factory system never had a return, so it's going to return from the pressure regulator. So basically the regulator is going to set the pressure and allow that pressure into the rails, and then everything else that it doesn't use is going to go back to the tank. So now that that line is in, I'm going to run it up to the front, figure out placement for the fuel pressure regulator, and then from there I'm going to mount the fuel pressure regulator, make the feed line, and then do the return. The Fore Innovations kit also comes with this beefy filter, and it also has a check valve, so you can blow in one way and not the other. So if you are installing this kit, make sure you hook it up the way it says the flow goes, because if you don't, you won't get any fuel to the motor, and you'll probably rip your hair out trying to figure it out, and it's more than likely that. So I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to put this right now, so I might just do it along the frame rail somewhere. The problem is it's so bulky, it's going to stick down, and I don't want it to stick down and be able to get hit by anything, you know, if he drives over something. So that's the next issue we're going to figure out. It's currently 2 o'clock in the morning, so I'm going to leave it off here, and I will pick up in the morning when I get back. As you guys can see, I've been going nuts, and my hair's everywhere, and it's been a very long day between the G8 and everything else. So I will see you guys in the morning, which is technically going to be like 3 seconds from now. Now, I pretty much already did most of the fuel system already. I got all the lines made and ran. I came in here today and I was just on a mission to get stuff done. So I will give you guys a rundown. I'll show you how I ran it from the pickup all the way up to the regulator and then across to the feed. Now basically, nobody's made an install video, or I haven't seen any sort of instructions or anything for this kit, for this car. So I think this is going to be the first one, and I hope I help a lot of people, because this was a pain without any kind of instructions, just because there's not a lot of room in the engine bay of these, and then you add an LSA on top of that, and it just makes everything hell. So originally I was going to put it in the little cubby on the passenger side, and I decided not to do that, and somehow I miraculously happened to have just enough line to do it the way I wanted to do it. So here, let's take a look. So first things first, I have the Fore Innovations module in, and then I have the feed and return ran towards the passenger side. You have to cut this out on a G8 unless you want to drop the tank. This is the easier way to do it. Don't mind my ugly cuts, that's all going to be cleaned up in a little bit. But you have to either cut the floor, or you have to drop the rear end and drop the tank out. So I recommend cutting the floor. So dash 8, feed and return out towards the passenger side of the car, and then they come out underneath. Right now I have zip ties holding everything in place, but I do have the proper clamps, and I ran it along the factory lines down the frame rail. This is the filter that's going to be in line. I have to add that still. I haven't gotten a chance to, but that's what's going to be in line. And I ran it all the way along through this, underneath this heat shield for the exhaust, and then up the firewall. And then you can't really see it, but it comes up from the header. You might see a little bit of it right there. And it goes behind the heat shield for the firewall, actually, and it goes up behind the blower. And then I come down, and then under the brake lines here into the regulator, which I made my own bracket for. I'm gonna paint it up and make it look all good. That's the feed and the return there, and then regulator. And then I went across the top of the blower into the rail. The install was relatively straightforward. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say probably a 6. You have to have a little bit of, not necessarily fabrication knowledge, but just a little bit of common sense. You have to make a couple brackets. I would recommend a drill for sure for the brackets you have to make. You would need your basic tools, and we bought a metal shear from Harbor Freight, and that's how I cut out the floor. That was probably the best way to do it. I think that's about it. There wasn't really much necessary. I have a toolbox and I have a lot of specialty tools, but it didn't take anything super special. The main part, I spent most of the time just mocking up, trying to figure out where I wanted everything, where would be the best for everything. And a lot of the G8 LSA stuff that I've seen, they've had sloppy engine bays, there's stuff everywhere, and I'm trying to keep that from, I'm implying some of my Honda knowledge as far as like running things and keeping stuff out of the way. So that's what I'm trying to do with this. So like I said, it's relatively straightforward. If you buy the Fore Innovations kit, it's a great kit, great customer service. I had to call them a couple times and get some information because I didn't really, like I said, there's not really instructions. And if you're a do-it-yourself guy, you can definitely do it in your garage on jack. I did it on jack stands. I don't have a lift in my shop yet. So 10 out of 10 would recommend Fore Innovations. If you want to install the kit, I would definitely get in touch with them. And if you're turboing or supercharging, this is a really good kit. It came with all the fittings, filter, regulator, lines, everything necessary to make this a return style system. So check it out. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this install helps everyone that needed one or needed help. If you have any questions, comment. I'm always reading comments. So take a look, and I hope you enjoy. Until next time, hang in there, like, subscribe, and share.